I hope you can hear me properly and you can see me. So we'll be continuing with our discussion of the CAT 2018 previous year questions, and I mean, at the end of all this, I would also want you to actually, this is a question we had done yesterday. At the end of all these sessions, you can also try to look at how difficult it was to score a 99 percentile in the CAT 2018 exam. So that's one of the reasons why I'm doing one paper only with you. So this is your first question for today. You can have a look at this. This is your first question for today. And you can have a look at this question. I'll give you a couple of minutes to think about this and try to solve this. So 3 questions ka test I will be doing for you today to start with, and you can then look at whether you can solve these 3 questions. This is the first one. The question reads, if a is equal to 6 raised to 2n minus 1, 35 minus 1, where n is equal to 1, 2, 3, and b is equal to flower brackets 35 into n minus 1, where n is 1, 2, 3, then which of the following is true? Neither every member of A is in B, nor every member of B is in A. Every member of A is in B, and at least one member of B is in A. Every member of B is in A, and at least one member of A is in B, is not in B. So when you look at this question, one of the first things you need to understand is that for all these, the terminology used in this question, in this mathematical representation, is the terminology of the representation of a set. So when you are talking about A is equal to flower brackets first 6 raised to 2n minus 35n minus 1, such that n is equal to 1, 2, 3. This is basically referring to the whole set of numbers. Which are represented by this expression that you see here. The expression that you see there, and with values of n is 1, 2, 3. So we start thinking about the values that will work here. So with n is equal to 1, the value of the expression, the value of this expression will become 6 square minus 35 minus 1, and you can see that its value is 0 आएगा. So n is equal to 2 पे इसका value 6 raised to 4 minus 70 minus 1 आएगा, which you can visualize as 1296 minus 70 minus 1. So its value is going to be 1225. तो ये दो values तो calculable है. n equals 3 पे इसका value is not calculable also. n equals 3 पे ये इसका value जो हो जाएगा वो 6 raised to 6, which becomes too large a value, minus 105 minus 1, so it becomes too big a value. But ये दो values तो हमको मिल गया है यहाँ पे. और B को अगर मैं देखता हूँ, before I move on, if I look at B, the construct of the set B is, again, it's a set because it's in written flower brackets, 35 times n minus 1, such that n is equal to 1, 2, 3. So this is a simple structure here, and you can realize that इसमें you will basically, starting from the first term with n is equal to 1, you will get the value of this as 0, and with n is equal to 2, the value of this expression will become 35 into 1, which is 35, and then with n is equal to 3, the value of this will become 35 into 2. So what you realize is that this B, the set B, is nothing but the multiples of 35. It's essentially the set of multiples of 35. Whereas in the other case, what I've seen is my first number was 0, and the second number was also a multiple of 35. This number, both these numbers, were also multiples of 35. So if I look at with these values, if I look at the options, neither every member of A is in B nor every member of B is in A. So every member of B is not in A. ये तो clear दिख रहा है हम लोग को. We can see that very clearly. Every member, this member of B is not in A. But at this time being, we are able to see that all the numbers in A, the number 1225 is also a multiple of 35. So every number in A will also come in B. I mean, every number of A will come in B as of now, unless you can find at least one number which is there in A and not in B. So we'll keep this option in abeyance. Second option, जो है, every member of A is in B, and so the question becomes: are we going to be able to find a number in A that is not a multiple of 35? Because if we can find such a number, then we'll go to option 1. And if we cannot find such a number, then it'll have to be option 2. Because if I can't find a number which is not a multiple of 35 in A, in the set A, if I cannot find a number that is not a multiple of 35, so then every member of A will be in B, because B contains all the multiples of 35. B is not just multiples of 35, it is all the multiples of 35, because B is incrementing by 1 every time you increase n by 1. Its 35 का multiplier is increasing by 1 every time you are increasing n by 1. So the issue becomes, between 1 and 2, the issue becomes whether you can find a multiple of a number in this list of A, the set of A, whether you can find a number which is not a multiple of 35. Right? And what you can reject clearly at this point is every member of B is in A. This is rejected. And at least one member of A is not in B. ये भी अभी, will depend again whether you can find such a number or not. So you can from this point you can actually solve this question in two ways. You can take a educated guess कि यहाँ पे कोई भी नंबर, बिकॉज पहला दो नंबर हमको मिला नहीं है, पहले दो नंबर्स जो थे इसके मल्टीपल्स ऑफ 35 थे, तो आगे भी मल्टीपल 35 लाइकली है कि कंटिन्यू करेंगे. एक तो ये काम कर सकते हो, तो यू कैन देन से कि ऑल दीज नंबर्स इन ए, इन द सेट ए, ऑल द नंबर्स विल बी मल्टीपल ऑफ 35. Hence, every member of A is in B, and at least one member of B is not in A. वो तो confirm हो गया, right? So we can go with that. So that is a educated guess here. But if you want to do it mathematically, so there is a logic for that, and that logic is, let me just clean this board. The logic is when you write that A is equal to A is the set of 6 raised to 2n minus 35 minus 1 minus 35n minus 1. If you want to test whether with n is 1, 2, 3, if you want to test whether this will, all the terms basically between option 1 and 2, the test is, are all the terms of A the test basically is, are all the terms of A multiples of 35 or not? That's the basic test in this question. Are all the terms of A multiples of 35 or not? Because if they are, then option 2 will be the answer. If the answer to this question is yes, then option 2 will be the answer. If the answer to this question is no, then we'll go to option 1. Because every member of B is not in A, तो हम निकाल चुके हैं. Right? So, यहाँ पे you can actually mix concepts. Although ये set theory का question है, you can use the logic of number systems to realize that when you have an expression like 6 raised to 2n minus 35 minus 1 and you divide it by 35. Now 6 square will always be 36. So 6 raised to 2n will be numbers like 6 square into 6 square. This will be 6 raised to, with n is 2 into 6 square with n is 3 and so on. So if I divide something like this by 35 and use remainder theorem, the remainder of this is always going to be 1. तो इसका remainder हमेशा 1 रहेगा. Minus 35 and divided by 35 will always give me a remainder 0. And minus 1 divided by 35 is always going to give me a remainder of minus 1. So whatever I do, my numerator is always going to give me a remainder of 0. Whatever I do here, my numerator is always going to give me a remainder of 0. And hence, all the numbers in this expression would be multiples of 35, yes. All the terms of A will be multiples of 35. And hence the correct answer will be 2, because the condition here is every member of A is in B and at least one member of B is not in A. So option 2 is the right answer over there. Right? So let's look at the second question now for you. Try this question. I'll just show you the options here. So this question, if you look at this, the question says, Ramesh and Ganesh can together complete a work in 16 days. So if I assume Ramesh's work is R, and Ganesh's work is G, the reaction to this first statement here, is that the work is equal to 16R plus 16G. This will be the equal to the total work. Then the question says, after 7 days of working together, Ramesh got sick and his efficiency fell by 30%. After 7 days of working together, Ramesh got sick and his efficiency fell by 7%, by 30%. So with that, I'll just check my net speed. You guys can try to do this question before that. Let me just check my speed, whether there's some disturbance on the because I can't see my video seems to have stopped on my machine, but it seems okay. So right, so coming back to this question, the question is telling us, just have a look at this question. In the meantime, let me just sort out my connection with my phone because I can't see your chats or right. So I guess I'm back live here. So the question, as I said, the first reaction to this question is, if I have assumed R and G as the work of Ramesh and Ganesh, then the first reaction to this question is going to be 16R plus 16G is the total work. That's the first reaction to this question. Then the question says, after 7 days of working together, Ramesh got sick and his efficiency fell by 30%. So what has happened is Ramesh and Ganesh have worked for 7 days. So when they work for 7 days, after that Ramesh gets sick and his efficiency falls by 30%. So after this, Ramesh's efficiency will become 0.7R, and Ganesh's efficiency will remain G. So the question further says, as a result, they completed the work in 17 days instead of 16 days. So the interpretation of 17 days is that because they already worked for 7 days, they would work further for 10 days more. So in those 10 days, the total work done by them will be 10G, because Ganesh is going to work at his own efficiency and Ramesh is going to work at an efficiency of 0.7R. So 10 into 0.7R. And according to the question, in 17 days the work is completed. So the first 7 days are uninterrupted out of these 17 days. And the next 10 days, the work done is this much. So according to the way the question is structured, the work is completed in this fashion also, and the work was completed when they worked for 16 days also. So I can equate this 16R plus 16G with this. So if I do that equation, I'll get 17G plus this 10 into 0.7R will be 7R, and this will also be 7R. 17G I'm getting by the adding of these two. So 17G plus 14R is equal to 16R plus 16G, because the work is getting completed in two ways. So this is the value I get out of this. if I just remove the starting writing, and I analyze this equation, what I get is, or what we get is that G is equal to 2R. Right? Now the question says, if Ganesh had worked alone after Ramesh got sick. Ramesh got sick after the work completed was 7R plus 7G. Because the total work is 16R plus 16G, the work left at that time will be 9R plus 9G. This will be the work left at that time. 9R plus 9G will be left. And the question says, if Ganesh had worked, this work has to be done by Ganesh alone. Because Ramesh in this scenario is going to drop out. So this work left, 9R plus 9G, R is equal to G by 2. If I replace here, the work left will be 4.5G, because 9R will become 4.5G and 9G will become, yes Stranger, you can 9G will remain, because IPMAT also has similar questions, so it will definitely help you if you do these sessions and you look at the shortcuts and the methods I am showing you. So the total work left is also 13.5G, and if Ganesh is doing this work alone, he will obviously take the formula for work for time taken to do a certain work is the amount of work or the work left divided by the work rate. So here work left is 13.5G and work rate is G, so the number of days will be 13.5. Right? Let's see whether we can do we'll do this question now. The third one last question. The one I skipped is a slightly difficult question, longer question. So that I'll do tomorrow with you guys. And I'm going to be live every day till 12th during this lockdown period in the quarantine batch. And before you do this question, you can try to do this question on your own first. I also wanted to tell you about Unacademy Plus. Unacademy Plus pay I am also available. And as you know, my name is Arun Sharma and I'm author with McGraw-Hill. And in fact, India's leading author on CAT books. And my books have been number one in the CAT segment for the last 20 odd years. And Unacademy Plus pay, this list that you see here are the current courses that are running up from my side: Foundation Course DI, Foundation Course LR, and Foundation and Strategy Course QA, which is starting on 14th of April. The Foundation course in DI is starting on 28th April. And I'll be having advanced courses on DILR and also ZAT special and IFT special courses. And if you want to enroll for Unacademy Plus, you can use my promo code. The promo code is Arun.yt, and that'll give you a 10% discount on the existing fees. So let's come back to this question. If n and x are positive integers such that n raised to n is equal to 2 raised to 160, and n square plus 2 raised to n is an integral multiple of 2 raised to x. Let's make sense of this. A lot of times if you read the question correctly, you will start understanding much more in the question than you normally do. So the question is telling us 2-3 things. First is that n and x are positive integers. That's the first thing it's telling us. Then the question says that n raised to n is equal to 2 raised to 160. So the question is telling me that n raised to n is equal to 2 raised to 160. Now when I look at this, before I read further, I should try to make more sense out of this. Now you need to understand in the context that n is a positive integer, n raised to n will be a number which is raised to itself. So if I look at the right hand side, how can I represent the value of right on the right hand side in the format a number raised to itself? So 2 raised to 160 is also 2 square raised to 80, that is 4 raised to 80. This is not of a form n raised to n. 2 raised to 160 can also be written as 2 raised to 4 raised to 40. In that context, it becomes 16 raised to 40. This is also not in the form of a number raised to itself. But if you go to 2 raised to 5 raised to 32, you realize that we are talking about 32 raised to 32. So we realize that the value of n must be 32. By this reaction to this expression. A lot of people, what they do, the mistake they do while solving such questions, इसलिए इसको पढ़ के रुकते नहीं और आगे आगे पढ़ लेते हैं और फिर पता नहीं चलता है क्या करना है कब. क्वेश्चन ने कुछ दिया है तुमको, उसको completely analyze करो, उसके बाद आगे बढ़ो. So from this analysis, we come out with the first part of our understanding that the value of n is 32. Right? Then you come to n square plus 2 raised to n. N square plus 2 raised to n is the integral multiple of 2 raised to x. So n square is 32 square plus 2 raised to n. We simply have to replace n with 32 in this expression. This is integral multiple of, this is a multiple of 2 raised to x. That means a power of 2 should be able to divide this. So what they are asking us is what is the largest value of this power? What is the largest value of this power? That's what they are asking us here. So इस question को जब तुम solve करोगे तो what will happen here is that 32 raised to 2 will can be written as 2 raised to 5 whole square, which means this part of the equation is 2 raised to 10 plus 2 raised to 32, the numerator, and this I am dividing by 2 raised to x. So the transformation that will happen here is that the numerator will be 2 raised to 10 into 1 plus 2 raised to 22. And if I am dividing this by 2 raised to x, the largest value of x that I can use here will obviously be 10, because only at a value of x is 10 does this get cancelled out. So x of course can be 9 or 8, but x cannot be more than 10, because the moment you put x as 11, the denominator will not cancel out in the numerator, and hence the maximum, the largest value possible for x in this question is going to be 10. So the key in this question was to be able to see n raised to n, and as I said at the start of the session, I want you to also look at these questions and try to, with these solving process, I want you to try to look at whether CAT-18 should be actually classified as a very tough exam, given the context that just people who solved around 10 questions, 10 to 12 questions in CAT-17, CAT-18, 10 to 12 questions gave you a 95, 96 percentile in that paper. So why, with these kind of questions available, which are all single step, whether you look at this one, not this one, but this one, and I would expect any school kid to be able to solve these questions. Why and how does the paper become one of the toughest is something you need to understand, and that will show you the gap that people have while preparing. And even this question was not too difficult the way I showed it to you. So right then, I guess I am done with the class for today, and I'll continue this course tomorrow. और अभी के लिए just a reminder, the promo code to use in case you are looking at joining Unacademy Plus is Arun.yt. This promo code will give you a 10% discount, and I wish to see you in some of my courses which are listed there. which I'll be running on Academy Plus. Right, so thank you so much, everybody, and I'll take your leave then. Bye bye, everyone. Thanks a lot. See you.